keep a tight grip on those cameras. We cannot stop for anything that is dropped over the side of the truck. But if you are taking advantage of those picture-taking opportunities and you have adjustable settings on your cameras, like an action mode or sports mode, I would probably choose one of those, because again, it's been bumpy out there and the animals, well, they can appear out of nowhere. So you always want to be prepared for that perfect picture. Now, speaking of those animals, though, take a look above your heads there and you'll see some of those animals spotting, guys. And those are nearly all of the animals that we have seen on this reserve for the past 40 years. It's highly unlikely to see them all again today, but fortunately for you, I am an expert safari guide and we usually have some pretty good luck. Now we're entering the reserve here through the Little Aturi Forest, and this is an area in particular you really want to keep your eyes wide open. The animals that live out here sometimes blend in to the background, really camouflage themselves in. So you always want to have a sharp eye out for the animals, but especially as we make our way through this first forest area. Now right away I spot our first one. Take a look out on the right and see it too. Dark on the top half, zebra-looking legs on the bottom half. It's not a zebra though, it's called an okapi. And they're actually the only known relative of the giraffe. But they're very shy and reclusive animals. So much so they weren't even discovered by the Western world until 1901. Ooh, take a look off the left-hand side here, all the way at the top of the hill. You see some large, light brown animals. These ones are greater kudu, second tallest antelope here in Africa. Oh, looks like we found 1, 2, 3 females up there. You can tell because they don't have any horns on their heads, but we'll keep our eyes open for any others as we're making our way through here. Now, it's every once in a while that I can come through these parts and see some of the really rare animals out here. One time, I actually saw a black rhino, which was pretty awesome, but those things are far and few in between. Due to poaching, we think there are fewer than 5,000 black rhinos left worldwide. But who knows? They might be our lucky days. So let's keep our eyes open, especially as we make our way deeper here into the reserve. Oh, you know what? I think it is our lucky day. I see one curled up, taking a nap. Look at this one over here in the corner. And now they weigh around 3,000 pounds apiece, making very convincing rocks. But that doesn't mean they're slow. They actually run a very impressive 35 miles an hour. Well, let's keep moving forward here and see what else we can find. Maybe something else hiding out through this way. Oh, wait a minute, this one's super, super tricky. Off to the left-hand side here, you see it right up against the cliff. Kind of a, well, maybe a dark orange, maybe brown animal here. And that one's called a bongo. Not surprisingly, though, they're known as the ghosts of the forest because they're so rarely seen. Both males and females have these horns, which you see here, and that helps them move through the trees and the underbrush without getting snagged, because they all face backwards. We'll keep going through here, though, see if we can catch up to any more bongos out this way. Maybe get a little bit of a clearer view of those ghosts of the forest. Right now, though, we're actually heading towards, oh, it looks like maybe some more bongos over your left shoulder. We're heading towards a river that I know of. It's not too far from here, but there I usually have some luck finding bigger animals. In fact, the last time that I was down by the river was a day like today, and I came right across a group of hippos. So let's see if we can spot some of those. If they are out and about, they should be pretty easy to see. A male hippo can reach up to 5,500 pounds. Oh, you know what? I think I see a hippo over your shoulder there. A little tricky to see back at that angle. But I'll tell you something. Hippos spend a lot of their time in larger groups called floats. And, well, it wouldn't be much of a float if there was just one. So there's got to be more around here somewhere. Oh, wait a minute. I think I see some. Hang on. Let's go in for a closer look. As we do so, though, passing by a lot of birds nesting out on the island here. These ones are pink-backed pelicans. Their feathers sort of shade of pink during mating season. That's how they get their name. There's actually a baby in that nest closest to us. So you can see that fuzzy little white one there. Looks like those hippos moving around here. We'll stop right up next to this one. Hopefully we can catch it before it goes underneath the surface. Well, they are great swimmers, but the hippos usually just sink down to the bottom of the river and they kind of walk around down there. So let's head on over towards the shallows and see if we can find any others for you. see a couple of them through the islands here. These ones still a little tricky. Maybe over by the waterfalls. No. Oh, those aren't hippos. They're Nile crocodiles. I know this is probably as close to these crocs as I'd ever want to get. They can chomp down with enough force to turn any bones into twigs. About 2,000 pounds per square inch, and you know what? I don't really trust this bridge that we're on, and I don't really want to find out if they're hungry or not. I think it's probably for the best if we head far away from here. Yeah, but hey, I'll tell you what, we actually had some pretty good luck down by that river there, and some great luck in the forest area as well. But now I want to try out a different ecosystem and see if we can find some completely different animals. And hey, things are starting to get a little different. Check out this tree over here on the right. It looks like someone planted it upside down with its roots up in the air. That's how they grow, though. It's called a baobab tree, and they're leafless about 9 months out of the year. And would you look at that view? Looks like we mentioned the Serengeti grasslands. Now they span for hundreds of miles and really act as a superhighway for migrating animals. So let's take a look and see who all is migrating through right now. Oh, I don't see any of them just yet, but take a look across this tree line here, and you'll notice they're all kind of trimmed up to the same height of about 20 feet. Well, it's just right for a giraffe. In fact, there are a lot of trees out here, so it really wouldn't surprise me if you found more than a few of them out this way, so keep your eyes open. Now, if we do catch up to some giraffes, we're definitely going to want to keep a sharp eye out. There's 9 different subspecies. Hopefully, we can find maybe a couple of different types, and you can try to spot the differences between them. Now, as we're starting to come around the corner here, I'm beginning to notice a lot of these cones sticking up everywhere. Does anyone have any guesses on what these cone shapes are popping out of the ground? They're termite mounds. They're made up of dirt, and what I would say is the equivalent of a termite saliva, which is pretty gross, but also pretty cool because they sit in the sun and they bake all day, every day, and eventually they become as hard as rock. So the elephants will come down and use them as scratching posts. Some of the kind of random down like that one out on the right-hand side there, and then every once in a while I'll see a little antelope sitting right on top just so they can look out to the taller grasses for any predators lurking nearby. Oh, it looks like quite a bit of animal activity up ahead here. We'll have to make our way around. Ooh, wait a minute. Okay, if you have really great eyesight, there's actually a giraffe right in front of us. Take a look up here. You see all the bushes at the top of the hill? Just behind the bushes, there's one eating off of one of the trees up there. Obviously a little tricky for pictures, but the means are in the area. I think if we go around this tree line, we actually might be able to cut some of this vegetation out of our way and get a little bit of a clear view here for you. Yeah, we'll make our way on around here, see if we get a little bit closer. Something else hiding here. Take a quick look off to the left underneath the bushes here. You see these gray animals? These ones are white-bearded wildebeest, also known as gnu, spelled G-N-U. Kind of like cow makes a mooing sound. The gnu makes a mooing sound. That's how they get their name. Closest to us here on our right-hand side, see a large tan animal. This one's a Patterson's eland. They're the tallest antelope here in Africa. Males can stand up to a whopping 6 feet just at the shoulder. If you have really great eyesight, look past the Patterson's eland, hiding in the island of trees for some giant horns back that way. The giant horns belong to Ankole cattle. They're actually the only domestic animal here on the reserve, but they've been here for a really long time, so they get along with the other animals just fine. And there is something behind the Ankole cattle. We'll have to go around though, see if we get a little bit of a clear view of it. Let's see. You can start to see that giraffe we saw still up through the tree line there on the left. That one's super, super tricky. I'll keep going through here though, so you can find some more of them out this way for you. Oh, wait a minute. I see a couple more wandering around back here. You can start to see them. Oh, these ones are kind of tricky here. Not sure if we're going to get a good angle from this way. Like I said earlier, though, there are 9 different subspecies of giraffes. The ones that you see out here, these are Maasai giraffes. Now, Maasai giraffes have a very small, kind of jagged edge pattern to their coat. More often than not, when people think of giraffes, they think of something like a particular giraffe, much bigger kind of block pattern, but we'll keep our eyes open for any other types as we make our way through here. Off to the right-hand side, you're going to start to see some brown animals kind of curled up through there. The brown animals are sable antelope. Lighter shades, usually females, or those young ones I see traveling with them. Darker shades, typically the males are the more dominant ones. Right now, though, we are heading towards something a little bit bigger than what we've been seeing. Just about to head over towards elephant territory. Now, this particular entry is called Monkey Point. There's a small troop of mandrills that occasionally runs through the area calling it home. Now, I do see an elephant up ahead, so we'll definitely take a look at it. Just don't forget to keep your eyes open for any of those mandrills. I have to warn you, though, they are a little shy. So if we don't see any, Hakuna Matata. No worries. Oh, but I do see some mandrills. Take a quick look off to the left. At the top of the rocks, there's a fallen tree. Look between the branches of the fallen tree. You can see one sitting up there. Not really facing us, so you can't tell, but mandrills are the monkeys that have the red and blue on their faces. That's what they're so well known for. You can start to see a couple of them walking back through the trees there near the cliff. Now, this isn't exactly the best view of an elephant I've ever seen in my life, but fortunately for us, this is just the very edge of elephant territory, so we'll take a quick stop here, then we'll see if we can find some more of them up ahead for you. If you look at this one, though, it's actually a great angle to look at its back. You see all that dirt up there? That's not by accident. They have very sensitive skin, so you oftentimes see them throw dirt or hay up there, kind of as a sun protection. But when they get too warm, start flapping those massive ears of theirs. And simply by that, an elephant can lower its own body temperature up to 15 degrees. So pretty impressive stuff. Let's see, we might be able to catch up to it. It looks like a break in the bushes. Yeah, kind of over your right shoulder. You'll have to go just past it to get a look at it. Like I said, though, this is just the very edge of elephant territory, so we'll head a little bit farther in here, see if we can catch up to some more of them for you. Unfortunately, though, elephants these days are facing loss of habitat. A lot of mining happening where they live, but I tell you this because there's actually something pretty easy you can do to help them out. When you get an upgrade on like your cell phone or even your laptop, just recycle the old one when you're done with it. The stuff they mine for is called coltan. See those electronics, and it's reusable. They can take it right out of the old ones, put it into the new ones, and they don't need to mine as much. So, something simple, like recycling, maybe themselves save elephants. And it's just something super easy to keep in the back of your mind. But like I said, we are going to head a little bit farther in here, see if we can catch up. Oh! No! Everybody lean to your right! Lean to your right! Woo-hoo. Okay, I didn't lose anyone, did I? That's like what I'm looking for. I'll lay it out of here. Oh, and right into some of these red clay pits. Now, normally, if you look around at these clay pits, you can usually see some dust marks up the right there. Now, that's where the elephant's eating the clay. Really great sign of elephants in the area. That's how they get all sorts of minerals, nutrients. They don't get from their normal vegetation. And you know what? I see some elephants up ahead, so hang on. Let's go in for a closer look. Now, the first couple of them look like they're going to be a little tricky. You can see all the tall grasses here. So we're going to make our way around the tree line. I think we should be able to clear some of this vegetation out of the way, get a little bit of a clear view for you. Did you hit that? Hang on, let's see if that comes in clear here. Oh. Huh. Pretty close to the village or something. Check out the radio is out here. As you can see, elephants are pretty big. Of course, they have an appetite to match. An elephant can eat around 300 pounds of food in a single day, which is a lot. As you can imagine, though, sometimes that leads them to eating things they shouldn't. And occasionally we find them raiding farmlands and stealing crops, which is a bit of a problem for farmers. So we've actually been working on a solution. And by studying their vocal patterns, we've learned that elephants are afraid of bees. Yes, that's right. Big elephants afraid of tiny little bees. So they've actually been advising farmers here in Africa to make beehive fences. That way when the elephants wander a little too close, they hear the swarming of the bees in the beehives, keeps them at bay. Pretty cool stuff you can learn from them. Ah, looks like some flamingos over here. Now flamingos actually start out as little gray birds. They get the pink from all the shrimp ate in their diet. These kind in particular are greater flamingos. That means they are the largest in the flamingo family. They're actually the palest pink though. Actually looks like we are heading into my favorite part of the reserve. This is white rhino territory. A little bit bigger than the black rhinos. They weigh around 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. They should be pretty easy to see. It's a really big area though, so I'm not sure when or where we'll see them. Definitely keep a sharp eye out as we make our way through here. Well, this looks like a pretty good start though. I see a mud pit out on the left. There's some fresh mud around the edges. Rhinos love to roll around, kind of coat themselves to keep cool. And a lot of tracks out here too. I'm seeing some rhinos, some not. So let's see what all we can find out this way. Wait a minute, looks like a couple of napping rhinos. Look out to the right hand side, way down that dirt road there. A little far, but I think we actually might be able to go around, get even closer in a moment or two. If you're wondering though, why they're called white rhinos when they're gray, that is a very good question. It was a misinterpretation by the English-speaking world a while back. It should be wide rhinos. At first, very wide-set mouth, but it stuck as white instead. Ooh. Okay, now these ones are going to be super, super tricky. So if you don't see it, don't feel bad at all. They are masters of camouflage. A couple of cheetahs on this hillside here to the left. They're about halfway up the hill where the sun and the shade meet, a little bit towards the right near this cluster of trees in the middle. You're just going to see a head sticking up out of the grasses here. Now if you don't see that head just yet, don't worry. I think if we make our way around the corner here, we should start to see part of the body. Going to make it a lot easier to see. Yeah, right up where the sun and the shade meet, you see a fallen tree that's just above and a little bit to the right of the fallen tree there. Now she is super tricky, like I said, so if you don't see her, no worries. We'll definitely keep our eyes open for any others as we're making our way through here. See some stripes up ahead. Looks like we found some zebras. And now we're going to lose them as we take the corner, but we should be able to go around and get even closer in just a moment. So don't worry about pictures just yet. Another look at those white rhinos back there as well. So let's see if we can get a clearer view of them too. Let's see a warthog moving around over here. There's actually a couple of them. One you're going to see really easily moving around through the shadows here. Another one's in the bright patch of sun. It's laying down. Kind of looks like a hairy little rock from this angle though. They use their razor sharp tusks to make all the holes that you see here on the side of the ground. At the end of the night, they'll back up into those holes, tusks outwards. That way they protect themselves from any would-be predators while they're napping. A couple of brown animals here. These are my favorites to say. They're called bont-to-bont. When the sun hits them just right, they have a kind of a purplish hue to their coat. They're pretty neat little animals. And it looks like a clutch of ostrich eggs on the ground here left. So we'll keep our eyes open for any ostriches in the area. Beautiful view of these zebras here on the right. And then again, those white rhinos tucked back in the corner there as well. Now, unfortunately, the white rhinos are just like the black rhinos. They're being targeted by poachers for those horns of theirs, highly valued on the black market. And that's a shame, really, because their horns are actually made up of the same material that your hair and fingernails are made up of. It's just a bit more compressed. Of course, here in Harambe, we do partner with other wildlife conservation efforts. And one of our partners, actually, the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy. It's over in Kenya, and they protect 62,000 acres home to many different animals, including 150 rhinos, which is a great number. Unfortunately, it's still not that big, so always got to keep a sharp eye out for poachers. Oh, and you know what? There's something directly in front of us here. It's through the tree line. You're going to see my favorite horns on the reserve. An animal called the addax. As we get closer, you'll see why they're my favorite horns. Really cool kind of corkscrew shapes too. Now this one's a little tricky through the trees here. We'll see if we can catch up to any others as we make our way through here. Oh yeah, looks like a few of them out this way. They are desert animals, so it's not uncommon for an addax to go its entire life without taking a single sip of water. They get all the water they need from the vegetation they eat. That's how they survive out here in Africa. It's a really cool adaptation. Hanging out with the addax, some birds there. Those ones are yellow-billed storks. They're carnivores. That means they'll eat anything smaller than themselves. Fish, frogs, lizards, even other small birds so they can get up. Yeah, but hey, can you believe just how fast time flies when you're having fun? It has been 2 weeks already. Huh. I can hardly believe it myself, but I guess that means I'm going to have to take you back to the nearest port and coast. Hey, don't worry though, from there it's just a short walk back into the Harambe village. Now, if we haven't seen any of your favorite African animals just yet, don't worry. Right when I drop you off, you're going to find the Pangani Forest Trail. There you'll see some animals we haven't found yet. Meerkats, black and white colobus monkeys, maybe even some gorillas if you're lucky. The trail also includes a few of those animals we were fortunate enough to find. You might see zebra, okapi, even an underwater hippo viewing area. So definitely a place worth checking out. Of course, if animals are really your thing, and head out to Rafiki's Planet Watch. There you get really close to the animals. It's also where we have our veterinary area. And one time, I actually saw a tiger get a root canal over there. So you never know what you're going to see. Always something new and something crazy happening over there. It's a great place to learn a little bit more about conservation, especially how the Disney Conservation Fund helps not only the animals that we've seen here today, but of course animals all around the world. Now give me just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and radio into the warden to let them know that we are on our way. Hey, Jumbo Warden.
Jumbo.
We're going to hang out here for just a moment. Looks like there's a little bit of a harambe